everyone, I'm Nicholas Salito. I'm here joined by my 5 guests. Go ahead and wave at the camera. Alright, so today we'll be talking about how the sport of basketball came to be by me, Nicholas Salito. So the game of basketball was actually invented by Springfield College instructor and graduate James Naismith in 1891. James Naismith was a second-year graduate student and physical education teacher, which is PE, and the International Young Men's Christian Association Training School. So basketball is not always played with a hoop and a basketball. It was actually started with 2 peach baskets and a soccer ball, which is weird because why would they call it basketball if they use a soccer ball, you know? But the only thing that they kept still today is the 10 feet regulation that they have the hoops at now. But they use the peach baskets instead. And the same thing, rules to start the game, James Naismith threw the ball up and started the game like that. And my next slide. So these are some facts people didn't know and I didn't even know about basketball. So players actually could not advance the ball. So nowadays there's a rule called dribbling. So when you dribble, it's a way to bring the ball up the court. But back in the day, there was no dribbling. So they just had to pass it to each other and couldn't dribble. So if they did dribble, then it would be a violation. And then the first team that actually dribbled the ball was played at Yale in 1897. Also, like I said in the first slide that I had, it was kind of bizarre that they used a soccer ball to play basketball. And the peach basket as well was also very uncommon. Also, he proposed a thing to keep the games closer, like time limit, keep it less time by having it 15-minute halves with 5 minutes for the rest of the game. So that was kind of interesting too. The last fact that I had was that because one of the official duties of early rest was timekeeping, they actually had to wear a watch. Instead of having the big scoreboard, they only wore a watch in the games, and they had to constantly look at it to check the time. But there was no shot clock, which they have now is 24-second shot clock. They did not have that back then, so they didn't really have to check as so often as the 15 minutes that he had in the beginning. So this is how people are continuing the game today. So right now, in the month of April, we're actually in the NBA playoffs right now, which is pretty interesting. Also, on August 3rd, 1949, after a damaging year battle between both players and fans in 2 different leagues, the BAA and the NBL, finally decided to join and merge to form the NBA, and that's the NBA we have today. The league was founded in New York City on June 6, 1946 as the BAA, the Basketball Association of America, and now it's changed to the National Basketball Association on August 3rd, 1949. My last thing about the NBA is the NBA is a global sport and media organization built around the 5 professional sports leagues there are, which are NBA, G League, and other things below that sort that also tie into the NBA. So to conclude this whole thing, inform you guys about the rules and things that has to do with basketball. Basketball is a thrilling sport that held viewers' attention for a decade. It's a game that's called for talent, smart, and athleticism. Basketball developed from its modern beginning in the late 1800s, which is where they used their peach basket, the soccer ball, and the limited time. It is loved by millions today, which we are currently watching the NBA playoffs, like I said. And basketball is a sport that will continue to be years to come because of its growing audience and growing rapid changes to the game and things of that sort to keep it interesting. But other than that, I think basketball is something that everybody that should be watching nowadays because it's so interesting and action-packed constantly. Right? These are my works cited, And I just want to thank you guys.